This is the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. I am your host, Laurie Henderson. Join me on this journey into the world of manga, where a river of reviews flow through caverns of commentary down into the latest news. Welcome to the Manga Dome. Episode 23, Real and Unreal. The numbers from Bookscan for August are in, and manga remains the same from last month, taking 8 of the 20 spots, including 3 of the top 5. Taking its usual spot at number 1 was the new Naruto Volume 62. Right behind it at number 2 is Attack on Titan Volume 1, jumping 11 spots. Coming in at number 4 is Sailor Moon Volume 12, which falls 3 from last month. The next manga comes in at number 10 with Attack on Titan Volume 2, which is followed by Alice in the Country of Hearts, the Clockmaker story at number 11, and last month's number 1, Naruto Volume 61 at number 12. Black Butler Volume 14 falls to number 16, and the final Bakuman Volume 20 appears at number 19. This month's numbers really spotlight the popular titles, with both Naruto and Attack on Titan having 2 consecutive volumes on the list. Seven Seas is getting its money's worth out of the Alice in the Country of franchise, as each new volume hits the top 20, and Black Butler remains Yen Press's big title. Over at Viz Manga, the top 10 is split down the middle for Shonen and Shoujo for the week of September 3rd, 2013. It's a rare but nice occurrence. Shonen holds the top spot with Yu Yu Hakusho Volume 1, jumping forward to the number 1 spot. Naruto Volume 62 moves up 1 to number 2, while Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist Volume 6 comes in at number 3. Case Closed Volume 35 pops in at number 4, while the shoujo lineup starts with Hanakimi Volume 1 returning at number 5. New Beauty Pop Volume 6 comes in at number 6, which is followed by Alice 19th Volume 7 at number 7, Love Com Volume 7 at number 8, and Red River Volume 21 at number 9. The list rounds out with Maji Volume 1 at number 10. Wow, look at that conga line of shoujo, all nicely stacked in a row. This week's list really showcases again the power of digital for bringing back classic manga. All the titles except for Naruto have already seen print come and go. It's actually pretty cool. Another surprise is that there was nothing new that debuted this week, nor does it look like there's anything in the pipeline. We'll see how that shapes up. Viz likes to sneak titles in, whether through the site or on their Twitter feed. Kodansha samplers, Real and Unreal. As part of Kodansha Comics' move to digital, they put out digital sampler books that feature the first full chapters of each of the books that will be available in that format. They divided the samplers based on genre. Real features stories that are rooted in reality, while Unreal has the more fantastic stories. Each sampler is over 500 pages long and features 9 to 10 titles each. Both are available for free from both Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If there were to be an age rating for these titles, I'd put it at older teen, like most of Kodansha's books. I don't read a lot of Kodansha's titles, but I enjoy the few that I do, so I saw this as a great opportunity to sample more of their titles and see if there might be more I'd like to check out. I did find some that looked interesting, but surprisingly, most of them came from the Real sampler. I found the Unreal sampler to be disappointing for its great reliance on fan service, though that's not to say I didn't find any I didn't care for in the Real sampler. The Real sampler consists of 10 titles: Vinland Saga, Bloody Monday, Danza, Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei, Genshiken, Genshiken Second Season, Missions of Love, Arisa, Kitchen Princess, and I Am Here. It starts out with the newest title due to come out in October, Vinland Saga. This title has been on fan lists for a while, and Kodansha is giving it the deluxe treatment with a hardcover release. This is the title they want to see sell well before they consider other seinen titles. I did enjoy the first chapter, which introduces Thorfinn, who is on a quest to challenge Askeladd, a mercenary who killed his father, and Thorfinn wants revenge. This first chapter shows how determined and ruthless Askeladd and his men are for treasure, as well as how much Thorfinn wants his vengeance. While I thought it was a good chapter and the story is built on an interesting and solid premise, I don't think it's a title for me. It is very violent and graphic, and I've had my fill of those types of titles lately. Bloody Monday is an action title that I first learned about through the live-action J-drama that was adapted from it. I really enjoyed the J-drama, so I was really looking forward to the manga. I didn't think about how much an adaptation can differ from the source material because I didn't enjoy the first volume as much as I thought I would. I kept comparing it to the J-drama, which was really unfair. I think I have finally put enough space between the manga and the J-drama, since rereading the first chapter called up my first reading of the manga rather than the J-drama. I have up to volume 6 of the series, so I'm now looking forward to reading and evaluating it on its own merits. Danza is a series of short stories, all based in Italy, that tell different slice-of-life stories, all by the artist Natsume Ono. The first chapter tells of a father and son estranged after his father's divorce who find common ground in harvesting grapes for the father's small winery. It was a nice, uplifting tale, and I've grown to like Ono's art style, so it works for me. This title will definitely go on the check-out list. Sayonara Zetsubo Sensei is an older title that came over from Del Rey, and I actually have the first volume, so I've read it before. I also still enjoy it, and with the title coming out in digital, I may pick up more. It's such an odd assortment of characters, but they really work together. I would recommend checking it out if you haven't yet. Geshiken is another Del Rey holdover. I had some mild interest in it, but I never got around to checking it out. The first chapter was okay, but it didn't grab me. Geshiken Season 2 did worse by not only not grabbing me, it also turned me off with the majority of the characters being Fujoshi or into BL, which I'm not interested in, and didn't find any of the gags in the chapter funny. These two are a complete pass for me. I had my doubts about Missions of Love when I read the series description, but the first chapter really turned me around. I liked Yukina Himiro and how she used her classmates as characters in her cell phone novels without them ever noticing. I also liked how reserved but shrewd she was with Kitami, who was a bit of a jerk. I have to admit I'm curious about how this is going to go and who is going to fall for who first. This is another I'm going to have to check out. Arisa is another Del Rey crossover, though they only released one volume before Kodansha took it over. I've heard a lot of good things about the series. The first chapter starts out like the series is going to be a parent trap type of story, with twins trading places to live the other's life. But this tale takes a dark turn at the end that makes it infinitely more interesting. It starts out like a typical high school story, but suddenly turns into a mystery thriller. There's a lot of potential in the first chapter. This is another to check out. Kitchen Princess was completely published by Del Rey, so Kodansha's version is a 2-volume omnibus. It's a cooking manga about a girl, Najika, who is looking for her prince, a boy that touched her heart when she was a child. Her search takes her to the prestigious Seika Academy, where she meets 2 boys, brothers who don't like to speak to each other, but who recognize Najika's talent. The first chapter was fun and light, and I did enjoy it. This is a title that I would like to read at some point, but isn't as high on the list as some others. It's still one I want to check out. The last title in the Real sampler is I Am Here. It's similar to Kimi ni Todoke, published by Viz Media, where a girl who doesn't have any friends is noticed by one of the most popular boys in school. But that is where the similarities end. Hikage is open about her feelings and talks about them through a blog, and we feel her loneliness by the end of the first chapter. I love Kimi ni Todoke, and I thought I wouldn't care as much for this apparent knockoff, but it's got some charm of its own, and I would like to see where things go from here. I want to check this one out. The Unreal Sampler has 9 titles and consists of Attack on Titan, Number 6, Sankare, Fairy Tale, Marduk Scramble, Cage of Eden, Ninja Girls, Until the Full Moon, and its sequel, At Full Moon. Attack on Titan is becoming Kodansha's next big hit. It's running up Bookscan's top 20, and new volumes hit the New York Times bestseller list. I've heard both good and bad things about it. Judging by just the first chapter, it's really not impressing me. It starts out with the main characters, Eren and Mikasa, as children, with humanity safely behind their walls, and the Survey Corps, those who venture beyond the wall, being seen as pariah, and ends with the first Titan that can see over and break through the wall. For a first chapter, it does get across the sense of complacency humanity has fallen into after 100 years of safety, but there isn't anything that really grabs you to make you want to keep reading. But I still think I want to read the rest of the first volume at least, just to see what everyone is so excited about. Number 6 is a sci-fi story about a future in a supposed utopian city that is covering up the dirty secrets that lie beneath the surface. I don't really care for stories with the utopian city that hides secrets, but I gave this chapter a try anyway. I didn't care for the main character, Shion. He felt too stiff and robotic to me even after his perfect life was taken away, and I felt more repulsed than intrigued by the mysterious deaths. I'm passing on this one. Sankare is the first of what is unfortunately 1/3 of this sampler pandering titles. The first chapter introduces Chihiro, a boy who loves all things zombies. He goes to a public high school which is across the river from a private all-girls school. Chihiro's cat has died recently and he wants to bring it back to life with a magic spell he's found. He catches the daughter of the principal of the girls' school shouting her woes into a well and teases her with being the test subject of his zombie experiment, to which she agrees. Besides the disturbing and creepiness of keeping the cat on ice, this title is filled with almost too short skirts and big breasts, mostly covering up the fact that neither lead, Chihiro or Rei, are really that interesting. I'd pass on this because it's a zombie book, but the pandering strikes it out completely. I've read Fairy Tale before. I absolutely loved the first volume, and it became a must-buy for me. I love Natsu. He's the courageous but clueless type, and Lucy is smart and sassy. I also really like her celestial keys. Some of her contracts are hilarious. This is another series you should definitely check out if you haven't yet. I heard about the anime of Marduk Scramble before the manga and had grave doubts about the anime, so I didn't hold high hopes for the manga. I was surprised by the first chapter and how much I liked it. It's a sci-fi series with mind-wiping and cyber reconstruction, but it was Ballot, the main character, who really sold me on this first volume. The conflict between her seemingly conscious desire to end her life and her subconscious desire to live really struck a chord with me. I wanted to keep reading when I got to the end of the chapters, so this is another one to add to the checkout list. Cage of Eden is the second of the pandering titles that riddle the sampler. A class trip abroad goes horribly wrong when the plane crashes on a strange island that isn't on any charts and is populated with extinct animals. Akira Sengoku is the typical teenager leering at pictures of female classmates with his friends and denying his feelings for childhood friend Rion. With the plane crash, it becomes a battle to survive both the animals and presumably his fellow classmates. I don't care for these kinds of survival stories, and pandering in the first chapter is 5 times as much as Sankare. Pass, pass, pass. Ninja Girls is a historical fantasy that takes place during the Sengoku era. Raizo lives alone, outcast by the village because of the horn on his head. One day, he finds a girl floating in the river and rescues her. She is Kagari, a ninja searching for the illegitimate son of the last lord of the Kanata family. Also searching for him are the followers of the warlord who conquered the Kanata and want to kill him. This has all the marks of a harem series, with Raizo being the more meek male who is surrounded by girls who adore him, and who happen to have big breasts and scantily clad. I don't like harem titles or pandering. Another pass. Until the Full Moon and its sequel At Full Moon is a fantasy BL series with a twist. Marlowe, a boy, turns into a girl under the full moon due to his mixed vampire-werewolf blood. His parents seek advice from a vampire doctor, Vincent, whose son has always been interested in Marlowe. With no real cure in sight, the parents decide the two should marry. David is thrilled. Marlowe is not. What makes this series more BL is that David is trying to woo Marlowe, no matter if his form is male or female. At Full Moon takes place after David and Marlowe are married, and there are new troubles afoot. I don't care for BL, and even though Marlowe is going to be female for part of the time, it just didn't work for me. So these two get a pass as well. So, out of 19 titles, I'm interested in reading about half of them. That's not too bad. I thought there would be fewer titles, and I had some nice surprises. What I really found surprising is that I like the real sampler more than the Unreal. I usually lean more toward the fantasy and sci-fi titles, but it's the realistic ones set in modern day that have captured my attention. I would recommend checking out both samplers if you haven't looked at Kodansha's books lately. If you download to a tablet or other portable device, just be ready for a long download time. I started mine and let it run overnight. Yes, it did take that long. Thank you for listening to the Manga Xanadu Manga Dome podcast. You can find links to the stories and books discussed here in the show notes at manga.jadedragononline.com. You can email me with any questions at xanadu@jadedragononline.com or leave a comment on this post. Rate me on YouTube and follow me on Twitter at Manga Xanadu, all one word. Until next time, farewell from the Manga Dome.